Welcome back, football fanatics, to the First and 10 Club with me, your host, Mark D. And week 12 in the NFL season still isn't over. And guess what? I haven't been here. I'm back. So, what happened? Where have I been? Sorry to the people that watch the videos. There was nothing for me from week 11, and I just got released, so I'm not in my normal location, but I figured it'd be important to get a video out to you. I've been in YouTube jail. I really don't know why, but my account got frozen. I couldn't post anything. I'm a little frustrated with that. Still haven't really told me what the reasoning was, but I'm out now, so that's great. Um, Hopefully, I'll be able to figure out more information so that doesn't happen again. But with that being said, today's episode is going to be a little bit different because obviously we didn't have picks and predictions last week. So let's just talk NFL. And wow, what a crazy week in the NFL in week 11. You had Thanksgiving games supposed to be three, you didn't have three. You had postponements. You had just some insane games this week. So let's start with the fact. Let's talk about some firings. We have more firings in the NFL. The Detroit Lions. Bye bye Matt Patricia. Long time coming. Just was not maximizing the talent that he had in Detroit. And I really feel bad for Matt Stafford here, who really, the majority of his uh, latter years as a quarterback have been wasted. We'll see what comes in now. We'll see if they keep Matt Stafford. That's a big question. Do they draft the heir apparent, new coach, new quarterback? Does he get to move on? Does the new coach keep Stafford around again? It seems like the same old song and dance there. GM also gone there. Speaking of GM firings, the Jacksonville Jaguars fired their GM, but their coaching staff is safe for now. And I really do stress for now because I think the writing's on the wall there. I think that's just a lame duck staff until the end of the season. But for now, they stick around. So it's three down so far this year, and I can really see as many as eight going. The ones that I see on the potential hot seat, Doug Marrone, we just talked about Jacksonville. Adam Gase, how does this guy still have a job? Gase still has a job. I don't even know that the New York Jets even resemble an NFL team anymore. I'm apparently the best thing that he can do for the team, and apparently he's doing it, is he's going to make sure that they get that number one pick. And somehow with the Jets, I could just see them screwing that up anyway. Couldn't you see it? Somehow they get like two wins and they end up dropping below the Jaguars. Like, it's just a Jets thing to do. Um, Nagy from Chicago. I mean, it's a shame, but you started out the way you did at the beginning of the year. Your decision to go to Foles, which absolutely just backfired on you. We talked about that in earlier shows. Definitely in the hot seat there. Vance Joseph in the LA Chargers. I don't know what's going on there. I really don't. I think it's going to come down to one of those situations. I think he makes a much better coordinator than he does a head coach. There's just too much on his plate. A lot of bad decisions that I think have cost them wins. I'm not saying that they would have been a playoff team, but and then let's go into the last possible coach, which could make eight. And that's Doug Peterson in the Philadelphia Eagles. It seems like that Super Bowl season is light years, you know, in a galaxy far, far away. It just seems like it was so long ago. Wentz and the Eagles, man, they are broken. I don't know what's going on there. Wentz looks like a shell of himself. Um, it seems that they're getting healthier and at the skill positions, and they're doing worse. The offensive line is brutal, but it really makes you wonder: is Doug Peterson safe? Till it's all said and done, I said there's a possibility I could see as many as eight coaches going, and that's not including if God, one of them decides to retire or move on. I'm just talking firings. I think realistically, you're gonna see six go. I think of the list we gave, two of them survive, and so help me God if Adam Gase is one of them. Right? All right. So Enough about talking about coaches and bad coaches. Let's talk about some of the amazing things this week, man. For fantasy this week and even the NFL, there was just some absolute bonkers games. And it started out with Derrick Henry. Um, man, 4 touchdowns, three on the ground, one receiving. Uh, just a bonzo stat line. And honestly, that was pretty much all in the first half. They took the gas off with Henry in the second half because they didn't need to use him. I'm not saying he never got used, but just a killer monster day for him. And that was after the Antonio Gibson game for the Washington football team on Thanksgiving, who put up 3 touchdowns and over 100 yards from scrimmage. And I thought that was gangbusters. I thought that was crazy. Um, so then you saw some other really good games in the early half of games on Sunday. You had Justin Jefferson for the Vikings with Adam Thielen out, put up an awesome game. They got an absolute steal there, and all the teams that passed on him, man, they've got to be kicking themselves. Followed up by Chubb, for Cleveland. Kirk Cousins had a horrible day in terms of turnovers, but still put up a ridiculous stat line for the Vikings. And then last night, you had DK Metcalf, who put up a hell of a game. I think the final was 177 yards and a touchdown. I dropped another touchdown. And man, this kid, this is his second year, and he is becoming one of the just elite wide receivers. We really have a great group of young wide receivers that are prepared to take the torch from the Julio Jones and some of the old cats. It's crazy to think Julio Jones is an old cat, but he is. But all these performances we talk about, not even close, not even close to the absolute shocker performance in what might have been the game of the week, Kansas City versus Tampa Bay on Sunday night. Um, Tyreek Hill, 200 yards in the first quarter. Patrick Mahomes with over 400 yards passing today. Man, Kansas City, that's what that offense is so dangerous because they have so many different weapons and so many different ways that they can go off on you. And that's really the incredible thing about that. So, just some absolute amazing stats this past week. And, to equal that out, you also saw these amazing games. You also saw some teams giving up. Oakland, Oakland against the Atlanta Falcons. Just looked like they came into that game completely unprepared. Derek Carr should have been a smash spot. He wants to talk about earlier in the year about, talking about, coming, not letting them down, players letting each other down and stuff like that. Well, this was just garbage. And that's what we see. It just seems to be the MO of the Raiders all the time. The You have one week where they look so damn good and they look like they're ready to take that next step. And then the following week, and that's against a team like Kansas City, against the Chiefs. And then the following week against a team that they should beat, those winnable games, they fall flat on their face. That's why the Raiders are the Raiders. That's why they're just not getting there. And I don't know that Derek Carr can get them there. I don't know. Uh, uh, I know their defense is a little suspect, but they've made some draft picks. They're just missing. They're just not getting there. That's why when these teams win Super Bowls, that's why when you have teams that are dynasties and are good for a decade, why they deserve so much credit because it's not just about talent, it's not just about coaching, it's about finding a perfect harmony. Um, so yeah, you had Oakland, then you had Denver, who we're gonna get to this more in a bit, but I understand Denver had a ridiculously bad hand dealt to them. I will take nothing away from the young man, the wide receiver from their practice squad, who attempted to play quarterback in the NFL with no practice, no experience, nothing. But I'm going to go to the coaches, and you knew what was coming, and it's like you did nothing. It was really like you just accepted the fact you were going to lose this game. Kind of disappointed there. And I understand Denver's kind of out of it right now. But, and I think kind of the transition to that is we're talking about is what is a QB? I'm starting to think that the traditional quarterback in the NFL is going out the window. They're looking for that athlete. And I just don't buy it. I don't buy the athlete for quarterback. And my example as to why, if I'm a GM, why I am passing on a Lamar Jackson. There's nothing against Lamar Jackson. He's a fine young man. He is a great athlete. But I want Justin Herbert. I want that quarterback that's going to stand tall in the pocket, that's going to maneuver just enough to buy enough time to cannon that ball down the field. There's a difference between a mobile quarterback and a running quarterback. And when you see your Lamar Jacksons, your Kyler Murrays, pre-shoulder injury, even Deshaun Watson a little bit, that are trying to run the ball, that are trying to run the ball more than stand in the pocket and throw the ball. I just, yeah, you're going to win games, but I just don't see them being that elite level. And it's hard to compare. You can't compare a Lamar Jackson or a Randall Cunningham to a Joe Montana or Tom Brady or Drew Brees. They're completely different animals. But this trend for the athlete QB, I don't. That's just not a trend I'd get on board with. So, with that being said, let's talk about refs looking like complete titicaca. Poop. Yeah, I said poop. Trying to tone down the swearing a little bit because again, I don't know why I was in Yahoo jail, but maybe that was it. Um, So yeah, the refs looking like poop lately. They're just again talk about quitting, talk about being lazy. I know this is a crazy year with COVID and everything going on, but I mean some of the calls that they're making are just horrendous, and they're changing the outcomes of games. The beginning of the year they started out great, and it's like they're getting tired now, so it's like we're not really going to try. It's a shame, it really is. Um, so yeah, there's not much you can say about that. They're getting things wrong. It is what it is. Nobody cares. Well, I mean, we care as fans, but I don't see the league, pumping, their fist and pounding their chest about it. Talking about pumping your fist, cheering. A lot of people came into this year talking about the defensive rookie of the year being almost a lock for Chase Young for the Washington football team. I love that. I'm a fan of the Washington football team. You guys know that. And I'll tell you right now, if Chase Young gets it, if the vote count stopped today, if the season ended today, there is no way that Chase Young deserves that award. Why? Because there's a safety that plays for the Carolina Panthers named Jeremy Chin. I really liked him coming out of the draft. And man, has he come onto the scene. I don't know if it's ever been done. He scored as a defensive player on consecutive plays from scrimmage, touchdowns. A defensive player on defense, not subbing in for offense and then defense or defense and offense, both times on defense. That's crazy. And it's not just that fluke time. He has made plays and game-changing plays all season. Hands down right now should be defensive rookie of the year. There's not even a debate for it. So with that, let's run out the clock. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter show this week, but like I said, we don't have our normal format to go off of. But let's run out the clock, and we're going to talk about COVID. COVID is back, and it's back with a vengeance in the NFL. You see people left and right getting put on the COVID list, and big name players. DeForest Buckner was out for the Colts. Ask the Colts if that maybe played a role in the fact that Derrick Henry made them their not nice word. Who's your daddy, Colts? Uh, Adam Thielen. Um, the Baltimore Ravens. Entire team. But every team is seeing COVID issues. I think honestly the Seattle Seahawks are the only team that has not had a COVID issue all year, but it's back. It's back with a vengeance. And you saw it play this horrible, horrible role this week in not for Baltimore, for Denver. Denver lost their entire starting quarterback room because, well, they didn't take care of protocols, but they had no quarterback. In case you missed my point from earlier, you're living under a rock or don't follow teams from out of state. Denver had to play a practice squad wide receiver at quarterback this week because there was no way they could get anything there. I'm telling you right now, with what's happening with COVID and what just happened to Denver, if I am a contending team right now, I'm going out and I am signing a quarterback and I am putting him in isolation. I am putting him with two coaches to work on game plays, to work on the playbook in their own tiny little bubble. And I'm telling them that that's the contract they are signing. You stay away from friends, family, everything. You live in that bubble and you stay safe. That God forbid this happens to another team. Can you imagine this happening to the Chiefs? What about Green Bay? These are teams that are in the hunt for playoffs. They're jockeying for seeding. Oh, well, wait a second. Denver's not doing that. So then it begs the question you have to wonder, why did Denver have to play that game? Remember earlier in the year on a Thursday night game, when San Francisco lost a good half dozen players to COVID, more than that. We were calling it the JV team, the junior high team for San Francisco. They had to play with it, they had to deal with it. But then comes the Pittsburgh Baltimore game. That gets postponed. Not once, not twice, but three times. And it's still not guaranteed to play. It's supposed to play tomorrow night. Why? Maybe because Lamar Jackson has COVID? Maybe because half their running backs have COVID? Oh, maybe because it's the Ravens. And we don't want to hurt the Ravens' playoff chances. They're on the fringe. A loss is a big deal. That game, that's important. So it gets into my final kneel down, which is Goodell, and how he is just constantly ruining this league. And the way I say this is, and I have talked about this not just with COVID, this is across the board, so many things. Roger Goodell has never had a standard that he follows. It's whatever the whim of Goodell is. Suspensions, penalties, whatever. It's whatever the whim of Goodell. COVID now. So that's my final thoughts. We'll talk to you soon.